Yes,
Yes.
4:30.
Okay, let's, I'm gonna call to order the, May 25th. 26th. Meeting of the Costa Mesa Sanity Board of Directors to order. And invite those of you that are able to stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance to God. The pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Vice President Uten.
Thank you. Many of you have belonged to a 12-step program. You can say this prayer along with me. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that cannot change, courage to change the things that can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I did that with Kennedy Band District when I didn't say amen. The invitation comes before the pledge.
Has to be as well. Yeah, programs here to do a little bit.
I've never looked at
Madam Clerk, a roll call, please.
Director Cheyenne Wright,
Here.
Director Nicole Wiltshire, Secretary Arthur Perry,
Here.
Vice President Robert Uten,
Here.
President Michael Schaefer.
Here.
Thank you.
State communications,
None, Mr. President.
no ceremonial matters to convene. Public comments. Time for those in the audience wishing to make comments on items not on the agenda, but within our subject matter. Don't see anybody from the public. But I just have one comment regarding the hazmat situation up in Garden Grove. And a real big thank you to staff for your social media presence. Jumping on it so quick, I know, Marissa, you've probably been more in touch with CR&R, and thank you guys for, I mean, the fact that we had a holiday was kind of a break, you know, and I just wanted to thank you guys for staying on top of it, letting the public know. Good job.
Okay.
Okay, let's move to the consent calendar. These are items considered to be routine and can be acted on in one motion. Anybody wishing to pull an item?
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve carries unanimous. No public hearings this evening, so we'll go to the general manager's report. Scott is flying his way back home, so the clerk will sit in his place instead.
Thank you, Mr. President. This report will be given by Caitlin Tran.
Thank you, Mr. President, and members of the board. In preparation for the fiscal year 2025-26, the audit, in preparation for the fiscal year 2025-26 audit, the audit firm Magro has issued an auditor engagement letter on their responsibility under the general accepted auditing standards, the government auditing standards, and the state controller minimum audit requirements for California special districts. The preliminary audit is scheduled for June 9th, and the final audit is expected to take place in October later this year. The financial statements are expected to be issued toward the end of the calendar year. Staff recommends that the board of directors accept the auditor engagement letter for fiscal year 2025-26 audit and authorize President Schaefer to sign the engagement letter on behalf of CMSD.
I'll move to approve. Okay. This is their third year in a row.
Actually, this will be their final year.
Well, this is the line.
Yes.
That's good, that long.
Yeah, 5 years already. Wow.
For the newer members of the board, we have a limit of 5 years for an auditor before we have to send it out for bid again, so. We have a motion, Niagara's been pretty good,
Yeah.
they've done real, they're a pretty good firm, so. Further discussion on the item? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Madam Clerk, number 2.
Thank you. The next item is for considering the approving of contribution program application for Concerts in the Park. And Gina Tarania will be providing that report.
Thank you. Good afternoon, board members. So this item is a contribution request from the city of Costa Mesa for their annual Concerts in the Park event series that takes place on Tuesdays in July. This year, there's going to be 3 concerts held on July 14th, the 21st, and the 28th. As part of the district's usual process, we are requesting the board's consideration of whether to sponsor this event. The criteria is that the board must establish the sponsorship will serve the district's purpose as it relates to solid waste collection, recycling, or wastewater collection, and also describe how it will advance that purpose. So staff is recommending that the board make a finding that the sponsorship would increase district visibility, since there will be an estimated 5,000. There will be an estimated 5,000 attendees at each concert. And it would also provide us with an opportunity to educate and engage with the public by hosting a community booth to promote our programs. The city did make some changes to what's included with the various sponsorship levels. We typically sponsor the $2,500 level, which used to get us a booth, logo placement in various areas, and also preferred parking spot. This year, the logo placements are only included at the $5,000 level, and the parking spot is only included at the $10,000 level. So since our total sponsorship budget for the year is $7,000, we are recommending a $2,000 sponsorship so that we can still host a booth, but we also will have some funds for other events like Love Costa Mesa Day and any other sponsorship requests that we might get next fiscal year. So that's our recommendation, but it's up to the pleasure of the board. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Gina, on the application, you said they're gonna do 3 concerts?
Yes.
But on the application, they list 4.
That might be,
Never mind, that's.
that's last year, yeah.
This is last year. Thank you. All right, questions for staff?
What kind of materials are we planning to take with us?
We typically include, I think we've been doing a wheel where we give out sustainable prizes. It would essentially be the same thing we promoted at the Costa Mesa Days. So we'll have all of our program flyers. We'll be able to talk about the 3-cart system, what goes where, the magnets. We usually have some wastewater information as well, like our sewer inspection rebate program. Sometimes we have displays for things that shouldn't go in the sewer. But it's all related to our programs and actionable things that the public can do.
Right, so related to the 3-cart system, what do we take? Said, the magnets, right?
The magnets, we have stickers as well for Recycle Coach, so we've been promoting Recycle Coach pretty aggressively. We have different giveaway items. I think we have a tote bag, we have a reusable lid.
Related to the 3-cart system?
Related to the 3-cart system,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, it's all sustainable things, kind of promoting multi-use items instead of single use.
Okay, I'm specifically asking about materials that tell people exactly how to use the system, like what goes in each cart. We're providing stuff for that, right?
We are, so in addition to the magnet, we'll have a more detailed flyer. And I think that's pretty much like our main source of information about the 3-cart system. I don't know if Marissa's here, if there's anything else that I'm missing.
Just that we're promoting Recycle Coach pretty heavily. We have a sticker that people are able to place on their kitchen pail or on anything at their home. And then, as Gina mentioned, there's a reusable lid that also has a QR code for Recycle Coach.
A reusable lid for what?
Like if you would snap on top of something, so we're giving them resources where they can access Recycle Coach, and then the handout, the magnet, we'll have kitchen pails.
Can I make a suggestion? Sure. Can we consider maybe doing, in addition to those things,
we consider maybe doing like a postcard, that we can take with them and put on their refrigerator, because the only thing is a flyer, I think often tends to get thrown away with other things, other pieces of paper, like standard paper, that people don't feel like they need, but if it's a postcard, if it's cardstock, it might be more likely to make it onto their, refrigerator.
Magnet? Yes. We can do that. The magnet is pretty similar, and I think it's similar in size to a postcard as well, but we can look at another.
Do we have enough magnets that you think you could cover?
I think we do, yeah, we just reordered a pretty large amount.
Okay, sounds good.
And I think, which our suggestion is appropriate, postcards probably cost a penny a piece.
Mhm.
And the magnet, the stickers to the refrigerator are substantially more. Um. And when we had the open house, the equal open house, we had ways for people to figure out what to put in what thing. I don't know, I don't think our booth probably big enough to do that.
It is a little challenging to have the carts there themselves on display and do the activity. But we can look into doing we have a smaller version of the activity that can fit on the table. So we can definitely do that.
And one thing that's new with the conference in the park is the city's requirement that they not only have landfill bins and recycle bins, but they also have organic. And at the fish fry, people don't think that. So, but they're gonna have to have all three. I mean, now the city requirement probably also for the fish fry, although they're still pretty bad.
I have a question, Gene. Do they let you pull in to unload?
They do. They let us park temporarily.
And then where are you park?
I think staff typically parks across the street or wherever the public parks. Sometimes it's at the high school nearby.
There's not that many spots now, no, but high school, there's literally facilities. So you want to get there early and get spots.
We always do.
I think they're also looking for.
That's, yeah, she said that's sort of part problem, that's probably the best bet.
So my thoughts are, I think it was wise to just do the 2K, because I don't think the additional, logo placement is worth 3,000. And I worked the city booth last year. And I feel like people were definitely sort of being trained by all the other booths to like win for like a piece of candy or something. So similarly, I think if we could even bring like a bucket of trash and we make them sort in mini bins, I love that, because we do have a lot of cool stuff to give away. Like better than candy in my opinion. Like I think the kitchen pills, the magnet, the toads are very cute. We'll get a lot of like young people that will be excited about our swag. And I have been seeing the additional like marketing push for Recycle Coach. I've seen it in a few places, so that's been great too. And so, yeah, I would support this. It's a great event. A lot of people come out, people who aren't normally paying attention to city government staff are there, and they do stuff at all the events, trying to get something.
Yeah, I'm gonna support the 2,000. The two biggest events in the city that get us the most exposure are concerts in the park and fish fry. Are done. I mean, there's other things we do that we have a limited amount of. With these two, it's broad, and if you've been to any of them, you know. By the way, I spoke at a neighborhood watch program the other night, Thursday. The QR codes went over, maybe because my neighborhood is turned into a younger neighborhood, but everybody liked the little QR sticker. I think that was a good addition. I do. All you do is point your phone, and it makes a funny noise and pops up. But I'll make a motion that we support concerts in the park with a $2,000 donation. Okay, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. By the way, I appreciate your comment about not going to the higher levels, you really don't get anything else.
Yeah.
Except parking. But you got.
That sucks that they're going to be for your parking spot.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make a fuss about it. Could we possibly look into sponsoring Songs in the Canyon? It's basically a baby version of this at Canyon Park. We might be able to swing for a much smaller budget, basically, an equivalent, but also a different audience.
They have to contact us, so,
Mhm.
Is there a rule about that? Oh, no way, really?
yeah, we don't give a lot
Can you
of.
educate me on that?
Gift of public funds, and we can't go out and give funds.
But they can
There's a
specify.
form that we have to give them, that they can submit a form to us. per law.
Cool, okay.
And as part of my motion, I probably should have included the fact that contributing to this promotes our,
Yeah.
how do you say it? Promotes the.
Or
Promotes the interest of the district and
district's mission.
statutory powers, and it's not a gift of public funds. Because of all of those reasons, so it's for a public purpose and not a private purpose.
Did they ask for a generator?
So,
Did they use their own, at the fish fry last year, there was some property generators. And, the Lions Club meeting explained that, they weren't properly grounded. We used to put 6 foot copper poles in the ground. And so I would recommend somebody review the generator application form. To make people that are renting, and I guess it's only the fish fry.
looks like.
You know, what is needed and what is acceptable.
Yes, I think that's really wise, because the person that has done it all is Scott.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure that the new person that's gonna do it knows the right way to do it. You know what we're talking about? Mark,
Yes,
Yes.
when you use our generators and we're gonna be, saying, distributing power to various fireboxes to where everybody can plug in. To get 3-prong outlet, you do need to develop a grounding system, that third green wire, bare copper wire, and one of the ways to establish that is put a ground rod in, as Director you mentioned, and then tie that there, and then you ground everything together with basically wire. I think, I may not be 100% correct here, but I recall seeing that there was some type of instructions to talk about that along with the contract normally review. I'll check with our wastewater manager, John Gonzalez, to make sure if it isn't in there, but it is included, and we'll work with them, and I'll check with the city, perhaps. You know, when they're setting all this stuff up, I don't know if they're expecting come out around, we can always just coordinate with them as well.
The city does have the
Okay.
fish fry doesn't happen until the city electric inspector.
Okay,
And traditionally, I've been involved in several years, but traditionally, that electrician, when he goes out, looks for those copper rod effect. We just sort of, you know how hard it is to count 6 feet of copper if they ground.
in clay, it's very difficult.
And
And they
we
don't-
just left them
They
over
don't
the
get
years
them
and marked.
Okay.
Okay, that's all from the general manager's report. Our general manager needs to look over his shoulder, you did a great job.
Thank you.
Engineer's report, Mr. Esker.
Yes, fourth project is our next agenda item, so I'm not gonna talk on that. Mendoza Force Main Rehab and Redundancy, as you guys know, it's in, as the board knows, we're in construction. We're gonna be done about a month earlier than anticipated, we should be done sometime around the middle of June. So that's about a month ahead of the fair moratorium, and at that point, the contractor would have had to pull up the job anyway, so. We're gonna be completely ahead of that. Irvine Pump Station, we've seen a lot of movement, Edison has been designing their facilities. We went out and potholed their electrical line, and things are finally both free, and they're moving, and work is getting done over there. I hope to have our contractor on site probably early June sometime. I'll update you on my next report, and then Last thing is, I don't need to talk about that. So I think that's all good. I'm happy to answer questions on these or any of the 20 items in my report. With that, I answer any of your questions.
Mark, I think I told you earlier that we're kind of ten districts doing their budget process, and one of their reserves was 50% of the CIP budget. I think we need to look into that when we do consider pay increase. If to have a separate reserve and potentially intertwined with that is a reserve for CIP emergencies, because we've had two very costly emergencies in the last couple of years that have taken away from some of the funds that we would use for our own infrastructure.
This is good timing, Director Rubin, as I guess this next, pretty quickly this fall, I guess we'll be getting ready to go out and develop again 5-year sewer rates. And so one of the things that I want to have completed for that ahead of time would be I'll call it an asset management study. The last time this was done was several years back. I think Brown and Caldwell did an asset management study for us. And so we do need to update those numbers. So it's good timing. We can use that, we can do it as part of that.
And those numbers were done in 2006, and they've never, and we've not kept up with the cost of living. So I think that's a good idea.
Do we have a separate budget now for CIP?
Not exactly, but we do have your finance manager and I, each time we develop the budget, we do identify the projects individually in our overall budget, but they're there. It's not a separate budget, but they're individually identified by project.
Should it be a separate budget?
I don't think so. I think it's fine the way it is. Unless, Caitlin, do you have any thoughts or comments on that?
I think the way that the setup right now, is fine.
Curious if we have enough in there.
How do we, what's the current formula for establishing reserves for this?
Well, if you're asking for what specifically Director Uten is asking for, or the reserve fund within our budget, is that the question? Or the third thing, bear with me, I just want to make sure I'm answering the right questions. Are you asking how did we come up with the capital improvement budget for the 2-year period?
Why don't you give me the long answer?
Okay. Every
Determine the reserves,
yes.
how do we determine the CIP total? And then you can refer to
Okay.
Dr. Uden's answer, but then I also think Caitlin might be able to help out in a more succinct manner.
So for capital projects, we have an asset management fund that we set aside each year during the budget. There's a transfer in, transfer out from the wastewater fund. And right now, the policy is that we have to maintain 5 million in the asset management fund. And so that's where we use the fund to support capital projects.
How did we arrive on 5 million? Has it always been 5?
It was in the asset management plan. So I mean, was a kind of a reserve fund.
Did we assess our total asset value and then that's a percentage?
Yes, that's exactly how it's done. We, Brown and Caldwell, what they did is they looked back in 2006, they looked at what would be the replacement value, and how you define replacement value could be up to interpretation, but what was the replacement fund at that time, and then they took 1%, and that came out to a little bit less than $2 million a year. And so that's what we would be looking to spend every year as far as renewal and how I'll say best managed agencies, how much they spend on capital improvements. I think we've been a little behind the 8 ball since that 2006, and what I mean by that is that we haven't been completing $2 million worth of projects every year. And so I think we're doing better now. If you look at what we're spending every year, I think we're in a much better project implementation phase. But we do need to take Brown and Caldwell's study, which identified how much should be in reserves, how much for emergencies, and then how much for projects. We do need to update that because, like Director Hooton has stated, it wasn't kept up, we haven't inflated it. And so we should probably on a 5-year basis, along with the master plan, have somebody take a look at that. And so to get it caught up, and I'll probably look at Brown and Caldwell, maybe update that for us and bring that back to the board of directors, because that does become the basis for the budget. And in addition to the reserve policy and the asset management fund minimum balance that Caitlin was mentioned.
So the hourglass is you.
I don't think so anymore. I think I've been spending our treasurer's money.
So possibly we could look at a CPI adjustment.
I'm gonna say our system really hasn't grown much since 2006, so that is correct. They'll basically have to dust off the report, look at what we've done over the last 10 years. And then just make sure that they apply the appropriate inflation rates, maybe look at how we've renewed our system so they could potentially reduce the replacement fund.
Is that something we could ever evaluate in-house without having to go to a consultant?
Perhaps. We need some investment first and some other tools. There's about 2 tools that I've been talking with your general manager regarding. One is a computer model so that when 30 development or some other large development comes in, we could actively look at what are the conditional flows and how does it impact the overall system. We do not have a model, we have a bunch of spreadsheets and they're very cumbersome to use. So we want to make sure that whatever the impact is, we want to get those developers to pay for improvements to our system based on their impacts. Right now, I'm going to say it's a crude way of doing it, so we eventually need to get that model. That model will then also tell us what size pipes do we need where and when. And that would improve that accuracy. And then the other thing we need to probably do is come up with an active, I'll call it asset model. And so we have to do some improvements to our asset management software so that we can see what we're being replaced. Because anything that's new, we get to take some deductions on the value of the system, since those presumably won't be touched for another 30 to 100 years, depending on the type of asset. So then we can maybe reduce that fund just a little bit. It's all just tweaks, I'll call it, but the overall number is probably gonna be similar. It might be closer to $3 million now as opposed to 1.7 or 1.8, but that's the range we're talking about right now.
Fascinating. Let's definitely put a pin in that. I just have a small request. If you would ever be inclined to put in pictures or pins on a map of where these projects are.
Absolutely.
I would love that. I love when you share pictures.
I love that too. Thanks.
We'll do. I can work on some of that. Sure.
Yay, thank you.
In fact, I probably, per your request, need to get back and probably do another overview. I did one for you, but I probably need to come back and share with you maybe some of the other projects that we're doing. So yeah. I can probably, and that might be the best way to hit that as well.
The best thing was going to the yard and using the equipment and meeting the guys. That was the most educational part of this. It was all clicking.
They let you use some of it.
They let me use everything. I think they were just as excited as I was to show us their cool stuff. They let me get in the truck. They let me do the power washing thing.
I lifted a manhole cover. Yeah, it was awesome.
Sounds like she needs to go into one of the wells or one of the
Yeah, if I ever see the guys, I'll just pull over, make sure they don't need any help,
happy to help you, whatever you need us to do for you.
Well. I have an off-the-wall question, I hope you don't mind, but I was watching the news the other night, and the two big stories were the Garden Grove hazmat. But there was also a story or an incident with a oil pipeline that ruptured in East Los Angeles, or a contractor dug and broke this oil and oil went all over the place.
Mhm.
And as the reporter was describing the oil line starts in Bakersfield, runs all the way down through the middle of Los Angeles. It's a 6-inch oil line. And it goes to the refineries in Wilmington, probably.
Or it goes, they go all over, if you look, there is a map that shows where all the oil lines are. And they're very high pressure because they do push crude oil and other types of oils long distances. How that particular pipe got damaged was somebody was, I'll say, directional warning, like a cable company. And they have a thing called a missile, and that thing goes into the ground, and they can sort of steer it a little bit. And it's got a level device and a tilt device, so they know if they're dropping or lowering or going straight. And so as the thing was going, they didn't understand that pipeline was there, because obviously somebody must have got the market, or the designer didn't show that particular pipeline, and the boring machine went through that pipeline.
So I guess my question is, do we have anything close to that could be an issue in our area?
I don't know the answer to that question. I know in Huntington Beach, there's a lot of
Yes.
oil lines that
Yes.
go through Newport Beach. I don't know if they go through our service area.
I mean, the end of the line is a refinery, and I don't, as far as I know, there's no refineries anywhere in Newport or Costa Mesa, so. It just blew me away that pipeline goes from Bakersfield to Wilmington. And nobody, I mean, they missed it.
Well, I'm sure the water board, state water board is gonna do a detailed investigation, because they've got crude oil in the LA River right now, they got booms and they're cleaning everything up, so. Someone's gonna look into why that wasn't marked, why it wasn't shown on a set of plans, and how did we get hit, so, I mean, that's what they would do for us, we had a problem.
Well, thank you for indulging me in my fantasy.
Where we did, where directional drilling gets us sometimes, is they'll go through sewer levels.
That. I have that thought too.
Mr. President, we do have quite a few natural gas lines that run through these cities, and they're pursuant to
Yeah,
a franchise agreement, and they've been in the ground for a long time,
yeah.
and they're everywhere. And that was the scene of the big explosion that Northern California that
Yeah.
would really create a lot of liability.
Right.
I think the gas company, the natural gas company, the SoCal Gas is probably much more responsive than, I will say, maybe one of these private oil cats that transport from Bakersfield to wherever it is they're going.
All right, Mark, your second item.
Yes, I would like to have you consider awarding the contract to the low bidder. We have a project that is going to take and build 2 portions of sewers, so that if we ever have a catastrophic failure of our harbor pump station, at least sewage will build up, overflow, and go along Wilson across harbor and into a system that goes through gravity outfall to Orange County sanitation. So that's what the project's about, and I believe that it's gonna reduce our potential for a sewer overflow. And this project, even though it's $500,000, I'll call it for rounding purposes, is about half to 1/3 of the cost of installing a generator system out there. So I think it's a much better, more cost-effective project. We did get 4 bids ranging from $469,695 to over $1 million on May 13th. We just got the bids, the signed, GCI is contractor, I'll give you their name and information in a moment. And they signed it on Thursday and it was included in this agenda item. And so there's two items that are, two recommendations we're making, and they need to be two separate, board actions. The first one would be to adopt project number 346 Harbor Overflow Sewer Improvement is categorically exempt for California Environmental Quality Act, section 15302, class 2. And then the second item would be a second action after the first has been adopted or not, would be to award a contract to the lowest responsive bidder, GCI Construction Incorporated, in the amount of $469,695. That concludes my report. However, I am happy to go into more detail where you have or if you have other questions regarding this agenda item. That concludes my report.
Questions? Recently, we were talking about an emergency generator for this pump station. This is to take care of, I mean, we're not able to get the easement for the generator, so this is gonna kind of take the place of that.
Yeah, well,
Not take the place of it, but enhance the pump station, I guess.
yes, we could probably force private property owner to sell us some property or grant us an easement, and we will compensate them for that. But by the time you do that, do the site work, run a conduit, because there's no property right next to the pump station. It'd probably be $1 to $2 million in that range to do everything that we would need to do. But to play it safe, I'll say it's probably $1 million to $1.5 million, although, you know, 2 million isn't out of the realm when you do all kinds of work out there like this, and we have to then have for perpetuity AMD permits. So I think this works out. I think it all but eliminates, in fact, it may eliminate, I have to do some testing when we're done. But I think it pretty well eliminates SSOs, unless we have a big rain or something going on, a big event where, you know, the overflow may not handle that. But that being said, it does save us a lot of money. So to answer your question, you're correct. It takes the place of a generator. I think it's a lot less expensive.
And we can still use the generator. It just gives us time to get the generator there,
Okay,
rather than having permanent structure.
okay, that makes sense. Okay, the board, any action?
I make a motion to approve the project 46, the Harbor Overflow Sewer, the low bidder. And the board adopt the Harbor Project 345 overflow improvements. That's categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, section 15302.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for item number 1. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That part of the presentation is approved unanimous.
I'll move the second item, which is award the contract to the lowest responsible bidder, which is GCI Construction, for the amount of $469,695.
I'll second.
Quick question. It seemed like there was a pretty good range between your low and high bid. Is that?
That I'm surprised, that particular contractor, I've seen one other bid in my tenure here, he came in a little high then, but most of the bids were 600 and a little bit extra to 469. They were all right within 100,000, except that one was, which I thought was an outlier.
We've used QCI for a lot of projects.
Yes, they, well, again, they've done a lot of work for this agency. They've been low bid and they've done quality work. And one of the things I appreciate about GCI is they actually try to work with us. They're not just in and blow and go. If things come up, like on Mendoza, we were working and there was an issue with how to set the pipes in and the elevations, and they were very happy to work with us. So they're a good contractor.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? That vote for the presentation passes unanimously as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Mr. Davis. Good evening. All yours, treasurer's report.
Thanks, Mr. President, board members. This is your quarterly review of your portfolio. Today down closed at 50,462, which was down 118 for the day. For the year to date, it's kind of flipped. We were up at the beginning of the year, we're down, now we're back up again. It's up 23.56 on the year, just 4.9%. Inflation is currently, or at the end of April, was at 3.8%. Your portfolio is earning 3.465%. At the end of April, that's up 141 basis points since the beginning of the fiscal year. Your portfolio over the last 6, 7, 8 months has continued to gradually rise in its weighted average interest rate, and that's really due to our COVID era investments falling off. They're maturing. We do have 3.9 million in COVID era investments that are still out there, and those are earning right now a weighted average of 1.08%. Several of those will fall off the rest of this year, and then we should be able to see a little bit of pickup more on the on your earnings rate. We did have a new Fed chair was put in place the past couple of weeks. And so it really remains to be seen what's going to happen with that change in leadership at the Fed. With the inflation rate at 3.8%, that's outside of their threshold where they would look at making a change to rates. And so where we've been talking about over years, reduce rates with the Iran war, with change and the Fed chair, but most importantly with inflation, we could actually see an increase in rates before the end of the year. With that, I'm available for any questions you may have.
I think it's pretty done deal that we're gonna see an increase, especially with a new chairman. That's what the administration is wanting. Questions for Mark? Thank you, sir. Appreciate, we need a motion to approve.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll move approval of the treasurer's report.
Motion in second discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Okay, that takes us to attorney's report. Counselor.
Mr. President, I have nothing for the good of the order. Happy Magna Carta Day on June 15th.
Does everybody know what the Magna Carta is? Come on, you get it dead. Thanks for being. Thanks for the
I can come back and give my presentation.
Oh, you old guys know what the Magna Carta is. It's kind of like, did you know Paul McCartney was in a band?
That one.
You know that one? All right, local meetings. Bob, Orange County Sanitation.
I talked about a couple parts of that, and it was a lot of rehab projects, and they're working on the budget. The way they do their budget is in increments, because it's so massive, so every month up until the time when they have to approve the budget, we get information on CIP or, different parts of it at every meeting. The committee process there is the administration committee with field of financial matters, and the operations committee with field of engineering and things of compliance team. And they meet individually, and it's generally then it's a very fast meeting because it is involved and then something vetted, so boom, boom, boom. And
Circle.
So the meeting's on Thursday. Yeah. So I'll have a written report.
ISDOC. Nothing really to report from ISDOC. Nothing significant. CSDA, I think the biggest thing right now is the annual conference. And SDRMA takes care of mine for like in the conference. They are having a golf tournament. And it starts at 6 in the morning, that's tomorrow.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna be attending.
I do.
Yeah,
They normally start the golf tournament at 9,
it's already 100.
and it's already 120 degrees. So this year they finally listened to Art and I mean, we were probably the two most vocal,
Yeah,
and they're starting it at like 6 o'clock,
that's smart.
I'm sure. So do I get up early to be in 90-degree heat and play golf? I don't know.
It's only about 80.
SDRMA, I guess the biggest news I would relate to all of you for SDRMA is, several months ago, CSDA rents space, SDRMA owns the building that they're in Sacramento. And we're about 2 blocks from the Capitol, it's a really good location, except that it's in downtown Sacramento, which is not the most glamorous place for a lot of reasons. We have a lot of homeless issues in the building in terms of homeless people breaking into cars, hiding in the stairwells till after hours. But CSDA, which is our tenant, has made a proposal to buy our building. And we've pretty much agreed to sell it. We are going to be selling the building. And we thought everything was moving along just fine until we found out 2 weeks ago that the subject to the Surplus Land Act. Am I saying that right, Alan?
Or surplus lands,
Yeah, where a government agency sells a building.
you have to offer it to the schools and
Yes.
parks and everything first, yeah,
Yes,
sure.
we were totally, the attorneys who represent us forgot to mention that to us.
Mm.
So we're kind of in flux with sell, but we are gonna sell the building. I'd advocated years ago that we move to a suburb of Sacramento. We don't need to be near the capital. CSDA does,
Yeah.
but we don't. So it'll be we're having some special meetings to go over the surplus land stuff, but it's still. Okay, other meetings, anybody else has stuff?
Well, Mike and I attended the CSDA Leadership Academy in San Diego. And there were a whole lot of sessions, and there were sessions for new people who had not attended the conference in the past. And then Mike and I have been there many times. And that's part of my write-up. We did have a session, there's a new requirement, SB 827, fiscal and financial training. That we all have to take. And it was a 2-hour session, it should have been a 4-hour session. And it's just like,
Is there a test after that?
No.
Okay.
well, we can go away. Anyway, we got a certificate, Mike and I have completed that training.
And the clerk has been made, is there Did you get the clerk?
Yeah.
I don't know what the deadline is just yet, because they're just rolling it out.
Well, is there a deadline on when that has to be done?
By the end of the year, I believe.
I think that you're right, it is the end of the year. It is the end of the year, and I do believe that Target Solutions is offering a free training coming out at the end of summer. So I will get that over to the board as soon as it's available.
I think there's some new, Bob's comment about it was pretty chaotic, I think I told you that before. And there weren't a lot of questions asked because nobody really knew what to ask. But I think they're refining, they're brand new to making these presentations.
Mhm.
I know CSDA I saw an ad for I think it was on an email, they're charging like $75 to have it.
Yeah.
And they're gonna probably be doing them at chapter meetings, like through ISTOC. So other meetings, anything else? Yeah. I think that takes us to director comments. Oral communications and staff, anything from anybody?
No,
Thank you for filling in Madam Clerk,
Welcome.
I'm sure you have good support with people around you.
Absolutely.
Thank you again
Which
for
one's
the
all in my
stuff for
time?
the neighborhood watch.
You get it?
The neighborhood watch, the police usually speak first. And then they have me speak about. And even one of the cops this week says, I learned more from you than our own presentation, so. I'm available for a small fee. Not much. Well,
We have some magnets.
Any other director comments?
No, thank you.
All right, hearing none, we are adjourned till June 20-something.
22nd.
22nd.
What?
Okay.
Thank
all.
you.
No,